guys, welcome back to Handmade with Tara. I am Tara, a stay-at-home mom to 3 beautiful boys and an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up. And I am located in the United States. I'm a demonstrator in the United States. And this is a beginner's tutorial for those of you who maybe have just started Stampin' Up, you just found it and you're interested in learning about some different ways to make cards or some different techniques or some tools that you might need as you go. So first and foremost, I'll go ahead and talk about the sale we're doing right now. Is a celebration sale. Pretty much if you shop the catalog by following my link here, then you would get free products for every $50 that you spent. And for every $100 you would get 2 products and so on and so forth. So that's pretty cool. And then also there is a joining incentive this month. So if you join Stampin' Up and you follow this link and you join my team, then you can choose from extra cash pretty much like for free products, or you could choose from a glass mat, which I'm actually using here. You'll see a glass mat system here for the new demonstrators who join during celebration. So and pretty much you spend your $99. It's like the starter kit fee, and then $99, but you usually get $125 worth of free products. So with this second option, you would get $125 plus another $30 of free products. Or you could choose to spend the $99 and then you get the glass mat, the silicone mat, and this cleaning cloth for all of those things. And that's just for joining, which is awesome and, very, very appreciated if you join my team. We have so much fun. We do all kinds of swaps. We do birthdays. We take care of, if you're having a baby, we're going to send you a card. If you're going through something, if you're having an anniversary or something like that, we're thinking of each other. We also have a team club, which is super fun. But that's, we'll get to that stuff, right? If you're interested in doing that, just follow the link here and join my team. I'm always happy to have new recruits. And then also, right now we're on the mini catalog, which brings me to today's beginner tutorial, which set I'm going to use. So in the mini catalog for January to April 2024, there is a suite called Just Kiddin. So in the Just Kiddin suite, it comes with the paper that you see here, the stamps and the dies, and it also comes with these little gems here, these little iridescent foil gems. So for today's tutorial, so I'm using this set, but I am not going to use the dies here because I'm not going to use an embossing machine. This is a beginner's tutorial for beginner stampers, just to give you a couple of ideas for starting out, okay? If you are interested in more, I do plan on using the same set for my advanced tutorial at the end of the month, and that's the last day of the month. I usually post it by 7 p.m. I will go on and I'll do a tutorial for advanced stampers where I'll use the dies as well as other advanced techniques like a heat embossing gun or something like that. So when you're just starting out, I will always say this, okay? So you get a suite, you start with one suite, you pick a suite you love, you get all the stuff that comes with it. Then you're going to pick a couple of colors, which they give you coordinating colors right at the bottom right here in the catalog. So if you need a catalog, reach out and I'll get you a catalog. But pretty much I'm going to use, I just pulled all these colors here. So Calypso Curl, Daffodil Delight, Old Olive, Pool Party, Berry Burst, and Fresh Freesia all coordinated with this suite. Plus, when you get the paper, the designer series paper, we'll have a list of all of the other coordinating colors that will coordinate with the paper. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it today, okay? So I will show you the projects that we're going to make, and then we'll go from there. So I have this card here, which uses the designer paper, and then this card to round it out. So I do use the designer paper in all of them. And I did try to use the gems in all of them. And then I actually even added in some ribbon that I thought would coordinate that was old that I just grabbed out. And I was like, ooh, that lemon lolly, I saw it on the paper as one of the colors that matched. So I just tried to add a little something more, but that's not completely necessary, and I'll show you why in a second. So now that you've seen the projects, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the first one. And I will give you all of the measurements so you don't have to sit there and guess what I'm doing and what I'm cutting or anything like that. So here are the measurements for my first card. And I used Berry Burst for the bottom layer. I did the base layer. So the first number is usually always going to be the base number. So the 5.5 by 8.5, right? So that's this 5.5 by 8.5, and then you score it down the middle at 4.25. So also wanted to go ahead and put this out there, but for beginner stampers, you're definitely going to want a cutting tool. So this one's pretty awesome that Stampin' Up! Has, because it has a cutting tool on one side and then it has a score tool on the other side. So I can cut a piece of paper to make a card, then I can score it right away where I need it to. And then it also extends out like this if you have a longer dimension that you need to get. So just so you know, that's definitely a must-have tool that you're going to need for all your projects. All right, so that's where you start. 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4.25. I always cut an insert. So this is just a piece of white, basic white paper, and it is cut 5.25 by 4. So, and that's a basic measurement that I use all the time for my inserts. So that's going to go on the inside of the card right like that. And I don't attach anything until I've stamped. So that's why I'm just kind of showing you the layout real fast. And then I'm going to, for this piece, I cut a piece of the designer series paper. So on one side it's the little kids, and then on the other side they just have this fun pattern. So, and I think that's 4 by 4. Yep, I'm just double checking because I did not write it down. That is my fault, so I'll write it down. So 4 by 4 designer series paper is DSP, if you don't know. So, and that's the paper that Stampin' Up! Specifically has that matches and coordinates with the color of the cardstock, the colors of the blends and the markers and everything coordinate, which is really cool because you can make a cohesive project without really having to think too much about it. Stampin' Up! Does all that work for you. So, and then you need a piece of white that's 3.5 by 3.5. And I do all my measurements in inches, just so that everybody knows. And then this piece is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. And this is Berry Burst, so same exact color. I'm going to use it there twice. And so this one's going to end up getting layered on top of this one. But again, I don't want to do anything until I stamp this one. So now that you have an idea of all the paper and all the cuts, you need to pause the video and write down these measurements so that you can cut everything and then you can work with me as I go. That would be awesome. So for this card, I did use the Memento Black ink, so that's this one, and I also did use the Berry Burst, so that's going to match perfectly with the paper here. So I'm going to use the Memento, and I'm going to stamp my image here, but I'm actually going to stamp my birthday stamp first so that I make sure that there's enough room for it. So I already blocked all my stamps. This one's not the right one. Here it is. It's your birthday. So you're definitely going to need a block if you don't already have one. They have a great set of blocks. That is a good place to start, because even if you think you're like, wow, I don't really think I need all these blocks right now, you're going to end up going back for them. So like I did. But if you get a D block, which is like a universally, like that's a good size block. If you just want to get one block, just get the D block, because that one fits most stamps. However, the stamp I'm about to use for this set is an E block, and that's bigger than a D block. So you can see it has this stamp here, sorry. So I am going to go ahead and stamp this image right there, and I'm going to use the Memento Black, and all I'm going to do is tapping. I'm going to tap it to make sure that the coverage is all over the stamp here. And forgive me if I sound like I have a cold. I do. I am getting over a cold, and I'm going to try my best to get through this without coughing, so. All right, so then I'm just going to stamp this right there, just like that. So definitely must have tool, that memento, and a block. So also, which brings me to my next must have tool, you need a chamois. So a Simply chamois, it looks like this. It comes by itself, and then I ordered some of these cases. You can also order those from the website to put my chamois in. You can wet them, wring them out, and then reuse them, and the case keeps it so that it's not getting everything else wet, which is very helpful. So, and then for this picture, I grabbed out all of my blends that matched the coordinating paper. So, so I have a whole bunch of blends that I'm going to use. So, to color these. So all of these match the coordinating colors that are on the, on the paper. So this is the Just Kidding paper, and on the back of it right here it says all of the different colors that will coordinate with this set. So I grabbed all or most of these blends, and that's what I'm using. You can use the Stampin' Right markers. The Stampin' Right markers come in a case that have all of the different colors. The blends you buy individually in sets of a light and a dark. So this is Light Poppy and Dark Poppy Parade, which are two different colors, but they're the same color. So one is a lighter version of the same one. And so just to give you an idea of how I did this, so I am just going to use that Poppy Parade, and this is the Dark Poppy, and I'm going to color this shirt. All right, so, and you can spend as much time as you want coloring. I typically don't spend too much time coloring. And then I'm just going to grab this light pool party. And then I actually and then this is Petal Pink, the dark Petal Pink, and I use this for inside their mouths here. And let's see, what color is this? Night of Navy, I used for the water. So when you are just starting out and you just have, a few things that you're starting with, your cutting tool, your basic white paper, maybe a pack of designer paper, and picking out a few blends and a few stamping pads to get you started, you really don't need much. And when you're first starting out, you're excited, everything's new. Every time you get a box, it's exciting, and you're like, ooh, when's my next box gonna come? It's super fun. This is Azure Afternoon. I'm just gonna add in a little bit of that at the top here. And then I used the pool party again for, so I actually just should have showed you that. Okay, so this is Dark Pool Party. Actually, I'm going to use the light. So one's light, one's dark, same color. So this is the lighter one. And I'm just going to do the sky. In this picture. And the blends are awesome. They just kind of paint. It's almost like a paintbrush, like a fine tip paintbrush. So, I mean, everybody colors different. I try not to read too much into that. And then I'm going to use some Berry Burst. So Berry Burst, this is the dark Berry Burst. So that's going to match my cardstock, and it's going to match some of the layers of the card. And I'm just going to make a subtle little hint of it there. And then this is Daffodil Delight. Use that for here. Obviously, if you're not coloring along with me, you can fast forward a little bit to the next part. I really, this is the medium, it's like the skin tone color, SU 700 is what it's called. But I like it if, you know, you do it along with me. If you do make any of the cards and you want to share them, please tag me on your social medias. I love to see if anybody's done anything, or that's called casing the designer. So if you copied and share everything that you do, then I can give you a shout. And I do have 3 children. 2 of them are at school right now, which is awesome, and Mommy can get some work done, but my youngest son is 2, so he's still home with me. And I have another, this is the SU 800, so this is a little lighter. These are skin tones. Let me take that. Okay, and then I did an dark lemon lime twist flag. So, just thought that was a fun, I didn't really know. And then this is light pecan pie. I use this for this little stick here. And I also used it for this little girl's hair. I'm going to use the other side. So one of the cool things about the designer paper is that this one they're double-sided, and one side of the designer paper has like a pattern design, and then the other side has these little kids. So there's actually a picture of 3 kids, this exact same picture, and it's obviously colored differently and everything, in the paper. So that's kind of cool because you kind of get ideas of how you would color it, but also I like it because if I want it to cut out, actually I'm going to do this little fish too. If I did cut out the picture, then you don't have to color it. You save yourself this time. But since this is a simple card already, I'm going to go ahead and just do the work. I'll show you on the other ones what I mean, how you can cut it out of the paper, because I did do that on the other cards. So this, I'm just gonna lay it down on this mat, and I will say that the more layers you add, the better your project is gonna be. Almost always. I won't say always, but almost always. So on the inside, you can stamp this before you attach it. And so these stamps are really cool, and they all kind of coordinate with each other. So it says, it's your birthday, so I'm going to do an you're amazing on the inside of the card. So, and instead of using this berry that I've already used, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Azure Afternoon on the inside. So that's this color. And I'm just going to do a you're amazing on the inside. There we go. And then I clean up all my stamps as I use them. Obviously, if you just had Berry Burst and you didn't have Azure Afternoon, then you can just use Berry Burst again. And then it's still going to coordinate. Or you can use your Memento Black. I'm just giving you tips of like what extra you could do. So this is crushed curry. And this one, this also came with some little stars, so I'm just going to add some little stars, tap, 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 stars, tap, 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 stars like that. And again, I'm going to clean that off. To close these, I just use my fingers and I pull and flip. And then my chamois, I'll clean that off. And now I can go ahead and put this one in the card. So why do I love making cards so much, guys? I love making cards for so many reasons. Number one is they're quick and easy. I have a finished project at the end of the day, right? So I used to do scrapbooking with pictures, and it just takes months and months and lots of trying to figure out how to make things come together. So this is Tombow glue. This is the green glue, what I call green glue. I use it on all of my projects. Definitely a must-have tool. And then, and this is, I love it because you can wiggle it and move it around, right? As you put it down, you can get that exactly where you want it. This is a bone folder tool. So that just helps the card like lay nice and flat for you. So you can work on the front here. I won't say it's a must-have tool. It's a nice-to-have tool. All right, so the next layer I'm going to do is I'm going to add this piece. So I will also show you how I do. This is a Stampin' Seal Plus, which is very sticky and very strong. So I'm going to go really slow because I don't want it to rip my paper. And when you use it, the tape will sometimes get stuck and you just kind of have to use your finger to grab it and pull it back at the end. So I'm just going really slow because I don't want it to rip my paper. So this is a great glue, great adhesive. All right, so now my glue's on there. And I kind of, because it's a kid's card, I kind of did this wonky. So I did like a sideways, and I kind of just like made sure that none of the edges were off the sides, and then I put it down like that, so that it's kind of not exactly perfect. And then this piece, I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals to pop it up like this. And these dimensionals are a very nice to have thing, but not a need to have. So you definitely need glue, but you don't definitely need dimensionals, but I use them on almost every single project. Also, you're going to want to use and have a close by trash can for all of the trash that's going to come if you do use dimensionals. I have these little things that are everywhere. So, and then what I did was I just kind of lined it up with the top of the card, and then I kind of pulled it down a little tiny bit just to show a little bit. And then I laid that down. So the sentiment is actually, it's funny because it looks wonky because of the bottom, but I tried to make it even, which is funny because it's just a kid's card and I just thought that was going to be funny. Okay, so then I'm going to use some of these gems. So the gems are part of the suite. So I already was going to use them here. Oh, I just lost one. Here, I'll put that over here. Oh wait, it does still. Sometimes they stick to my fingers. So this is a take your pick tool. And the take your pick tool is awesome. And it has multiple sizes. It's a multi-tool for different things and different projects. But it's great for getting these gems for you. Obviously, you can use your hand, your fingers, whatever. It's not a need to have, but it's a definitely, I use it on every project that I do mostly. So add a couple of gems on there. And then, so for me, this could be done just like how it is. But I had some more of this lemon lolly ribbon, so I wanted to use it up, and I just made a tiny little bow to make it look like the picture was for the birthday. So the picture that they drew. And then so I just kind of put it right there like a bow would be on like a gift. And I guess I could have put it in the middle or somewhere else, but I just wanted to be able to see the whole picture, and I put it on the side like that. And that's just using up scraps and stuff that I had before. And then this card is done. So that's how simple it is. And now I have to tell you that the second reason I love making cards is because after you make them, they're useful. You can use them to send them to somebody to make them feel connected and included and thought of, and I just love that part of it. So twofold, right? Then I'm gonna put it with an envelope. So these are the envelopes that you can get right off the website, and then the envelopes fit perfectly with the card, and you can stamp the envelope. So if you wanted to, you could come back through with these stars and add a couple of fun little stars on the envelope. And that just kind of, gives it a little something extra. So now I'm giving this birthday card to somebody that I love and care about, or one of the kids at my, kid's school, or something like that, and they're like, oh, they're getting this card that is handmade, and just adds that extra personal touch. All coordinates together like that, and that is card number 1. So I actually did a couple more designs for you here. I also have these little sleeves. I like to keep my cards in these, so when I need them, I can see what I have. All right, so that's card number 1. And then card number 2 is this card here. And I'm going to show you how to make the designer paper work for you. So I can put all my blends away. I'm not going to need them right here. I'm going to put this on the first card. And this is the stuff for the second card. Here are all the measurements. So measurements here. And I'm going to show you kind of a neat fun fold for this one. So this is the card base, and the card base is cut 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And also scored at 3 1/4. So the 3 1/4 we're going to actually fold back. So the front of the card is going to look like this. Okay? So after you cut that and score that, all right, then I cut a piece of cardstock. This is it was 5 1/4 by 4, and then I cut it at 1. So that's what I did for this piece here. All right. So that would be like a normal base layer here, and that's where I'm gonna lay it, just like that. And then I used the designer series paper, and I cut a little piece that looks like a stream, and it looks like a log, and there's a tree. So I'm gonna add that. And then on the other side is the kids playing. And then I cut out a white insert piece. And the insert is cut 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's all right here if you need to pause the video and write it down. So that's going to end up going inside here. And then I used a little bit of ribbon. So this ribbon came in the same set. It's this ribbon here. It's a ribbon duo combo pack. And I honestly need to look it up to see if they still, I'm not sure if this is an old one or if it's still in there, but that's what I used, just in case you're not new and you have it, so you can use it. And then I cut out a little boy that looks like he's fishing. All right, so I just cut around him on the paper. And this piece, oh, I'm sorry. So this little sentiment piece, or this little designer paper that I cut is, let's see. I'll double check the measurement. 2, a little bit more than 2 by 5 1/4. So, and I just used it because I used half on this card and then I used the other half on this card. So I think that the two of them together would make a full card, but since I know I needed to make 2, I cut it in half so I could use it on both, and then I just added a base layer. So first things first, let me show you how to do the inside. So we're going to use the green glue. Go ahead and attach this. Again, you can stamp it if you want to. I did not stamp this one on the inside. So I just used a little bit of glue on the inside, and then I pull it all the way to that edge. And so there's just a little bit of blue. That Night of Navy is the color I use for the base, showing, and I just added that in first. Then I used my Stampin' Seal Plus, so I used this one, and I added a little bit here and a little bit here, like that, because I'm going to end up pulling around the ribbon. And so, first I'm going to add this green piece, which I forgot to do. That's on me. It's all right. We'll learn together. All right. So I'm going to try to do this without messing with that inside piece that I messed with. So I put this down first and then kind of wiggled it around until it was where I wanted it. And then I'm going to add the ribbon over top of it like so, like that. And then I'm going to flip it to the inside, and I'm going to put a little bit more so that I can attach this on the outside piece. And then I kind of use my eyes to eyeball it to get it where I want it here. So that just adds like a little something extra. Alright, then I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to move this a little bit. So the ribbon comes off of it pretty easily, and you can kind of wiggle and wobble and move it where you want it without a huge mess of glue, which is why I used it. But if you use this on the back of paper, it does not come off easy at all. So once it's down, and if it's crooked, it's crooked, and it's staying crooked. That's why I use the glue versus using the Stampin' Seal for the paper. I do it for the ribbon though. All right, so that's the card. That's what it's looking like so far. Okay, so the next part, I'm going to add this part here. Excuse me. I tried to get through the whole thing without coughing, guys. I tried. All right. So here's how we make the designer paper work for us. And then I'm going to use my snips must-have tool. And I'm going to cut around. This is called fussy cutting. So, and you can cut, I do usually like a couple of different passes here. So I'll do an initial pass where I just kind of get off all this extra very quickly and easily. And then I go back in and go around all the details. Oh, and you can get really close with these snips, which is why they're total must-have tools. Some you definitely are going to need some snips. And I love these because they're great with all these like little tiny turns. You can turn very easily with it, so that's why I love it here. Right, so you just kind of keep doing passes until you get it how you like it. And then once you're happy with it, once you're, you feel like you've gotten close enough, or you don't want to try to cut anymore, you're afraid you're going to cut too much. That's happened, right? Then that's when you can stop. But by all means, try to get it how you like it. Because even if you see some imperfections, I doubt the person you give the card to will. They're just going to be like, wow, you made this? This is awesome. All right. So I'm pretty happy with that now. I can put him up on this log here, and I'm going to pop him up on dimensionals, which you can do or not do, which I'm going to teach you a trick right now. So these are dimensionals, but I'm all out of regular ones. But you can use your snips to create new ones, because all of this is sticky on the back, and you can use them. And I just kind of cut around and make my own dimensionals here. And there we go. I kind of make them different sizes too, so that I can use them for different pieces. All right, so now I have a whole new set of dimensionals to use. They work the same way as the other ones do. And remember to keep that trash close by. We're going to put that over there. And then I'm just going to put him on his log. Like, hey, I caught a fish. This looks fun. So cute. And then the last part for this card, so that's letting the designer paper do most of the work. I'm going to grab this navy, Night of Navy, and I'm going to do a little sentiment. You are amazing. And the sentiment piece is just a 1x2. And clean that off. Use my fingers to just pull, flip. And I used my snips again to fussy cut around the sentiment here. Like this. And you can get as close as you want to get, or as far away as you want to get. Doesn't have to be crazy. And then I'm just gonna pop this up on a dimensional as well. And then you can put it anywhere you like, wherever it looks good to you. I just kind of put it down at the bottom here, like that. And now that card is complete. And you can write your little card and then send that to somebody, you know, special, maybe somebody you go fishing with, or your kid, or somebody who's having a birthday. And this one is all done. So the last one, I did one and then I decided to do a different one. So I'll show you the layout though. So this is the layout. Like that. And then I didn't do anything on the inside, so it's just going to be the outside again. I was just checking that. And I will show you as I go along. So 8.5 by 5.5 base, and this is Pool Party, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a white base, and I have a white insert. Okay. And then this is Designer Series paper cut 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. That's gonna get layered on top of there. And then this one is Designer Series paper 1 1/2 by 3 7/8. So that's going to get layered right there. And then I have a couple of scraps of white. One is a 2 1/2 by 1 1/2 sentiment. And then the other one is a white scrap, but it has to be at least 2 by 2 1/2. And then I've cut out another one of these little kiddos because I'm going to use her. And then I'm going to stamp one. So I'm going to do some of the paper, some that I use for the paper, and then some that I'm stamping so that I can show you the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and add this insert to the inside, because then that step is done and this piece is out of the way. Even though we haven't stamped on it, because I'm not planning to. Okay, and then use that glue, remember, and it helps you. You can kind of wiggle it around until you get it where you want it. So that's that. And then I told you more layers is better than none. So I used a base layer, and then I used some designer paper as a mat on top of that. And I just kind of put it on top, and then I kind of move it and wiggle it until you can see a little white rim all the way around. And you don't need to do this step. This is extra to make it look nicer, to make it look like it elevates the card, just adding a mat. And then I'm going to add this piece. It's going to come across like this. Just like so. So, and I just eyeball it. I mean, you do enough, then you kind of get it right in that middle. But if you're OCD, then you can measure it out exactly where you want to put it. So this is going to get layered on top of here. But see how this is popped open like this? So I'm going to use my bone folder to get it to stay down flat for me, so that, look at that. So now I can add this layer. And you can pop it up on dimensionals if you want to, but I'm going to pop the people up on dimensionals instead. But you can make it your own. If you are new here and you're not subscribed, I would love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel. I do 2 tutorials every month. One is a beginner, one is an advanced. I am going to try to use the same set for both, so show you like, hey, this is what you can do with this card if you're a beginner, and then hey, this is what you can do with this set if you're more of advanced. So that's my idea. So, and if you like this and you want to be notified when I do the next one, then just have to hit that subscribe button. And I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that you're sticking with me. this one is the designer paper. So I just cut this person out of the designer paper because she had a lot going on and she's coloring up a storm. And now I'm just fussy cutting again. So this set does come with dies, but the dies don't cut out all of the kids. It only cuts out some of the children perfectly. And then the rest you would have to cut out anyway. You would have to fussy cut out. And I am just cutting around, just being kind of, you know, getting it as close as I can here, because once you put on that background, then you want to be able to see it. So I had this idea that I would put one up here and then another person like right down here. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp now. So this one, I did the stars in the background, which I might do a fresh freesia star. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh. So let me show you something cool. So I kind of messed up, and you can, these are kind of light over here. You can actually flip, this paper is so nice and so sturdy. You can't even see the ink through this. So on lighter inks, I will say that on darker inks or when you use the blends, you can see through. But for some of the lighter ones, you can, you know, just have a fresh project start over. Here, tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. So I'm just adding stars all around that. And clean that off. And then I'm going to use a darker color then to do the sentiment on top. So since I'm, let's see, what color do I want to use? So typically I would try to pull like pool party color, or maybe even berry burst, or this is the crushed curry. So, or I could do something completely different. So, and pull it in here. So I'm thinking maybe gorgeous grape would look good, or night of navy would look good. Let's do gorgeous grape. And then I'm going to use the sentiment that says, you sparkle every day. And so these are cling stamps, so, but they all work and are interchangeable on every block. So I got this one now. I'm going to put this one on this block, and this is a B block if you were wondering. And you can adjust it as you need to. Tap, tap, tap. So we're going to do some, this is Melon Mambo, and it is the dark one. This is Azure Afternoon Light. SU 800 for the skin tone. So obviously you can take your time. I'm kind of moving quickly here. And this is actually called a color lifter. It's a white, and it helps with, like, I made a mistake here, and I'm just going to try to lighten it up a little bit. It won't completely go away, but it will help a little bit. And then while that's lightening up, I'm going to use dark Lemon Lolly for the hair. And I'm going to use dark Daffodil Delight for the sun. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Berry Burst, Light Berry Burst for her tongue. And well, I'm going to get that yellow back again. This is the dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to color the crown, because that's obviously the one she used, right? Add some meaning to her hair too. You can come back over these little lines and add a little bit of highlights here to her hair. All right, so now you see this one is from the designer paper. This one is gonna get colored, and we're just going to fussy cut around this. Remember I told you I'd do a couple of passes. All right, just like that. So then, now I have one that's colored, one that's not. Popping them both up on dimensionals. And then I'm going to show you side by side with the other card. So then we can add her. Yay. So a simple card. And then here, I'll take it out of this bag, is the original. So you can see I did the opposite. So I cut this paper and I had a little strip. And then I cut this paper and I had a little strip. So I used both of them and all the paper to make cards that somewhat coordinate but somewhat don't. So like I could make another one with coordinating paper. And then, you know, make it like a set. You could do like sets of cards like that, and you can give them to people like, oh, they're birthday cards. You can give them out to, you know, kids on their birthday or whatever. So, and then that is that one. So I'm going to put these out along with the other cards here. So it's that one. And yeah, should have put them away here. This one here, I also need that one too. Yeah, there they go. So showed you how to do some pretty easy beginner cards. Anybody can make these. Just a little bit of fussy cutting, a little bit of, you know, designer series paper going a long way to create a couple of projects that you can easily do and make with, you know, your Stampin' buddies. So, or by yourself, of course. But thank you so much for tuning in to this month's beginner class, beginner workshop. And stay tuned for my advanced tutorial using this set along with all the dies in a couple of weeks at the end of the month. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.